It's time to check out the best reviewed fried chicken restaurant in my area, and that's starting right now. The Nest on State Street in Schenectady is known for their southern style cuisine. The owners have a sister restaurant called the Cuckoos Nest in Albany, which has been featured on the channel before, and also used to operate the now defunct Crave in Albany, where I tried their signature chicken sandwich. We tried the Nest for brunch when they first opened, and have been trying to get their fried chicken as takeout with no luck. One night, we decided to make a reservation and finally eat in their restaurant. The Nest is located on State Street in Schenectady, just a couple of blocks down, and I would say like a stone's throw away from Proctor's Theater. For this one, you guys helped me figure out how to order. I knew I wanted fried chicken, but I couldn't decide if I wanted chicken and sides or if I wanted chicken and waffles. Based on the poll on my YouTube community feed, the overwhelming majority picked the fried chicken dinner. So that's how we went. And by the way, subscribe to participate in more of those. The next step was to pick the sides. Mac and cheese was an absolute no-brainer. The next choice was a little bit harder. Do I go with the classic, mashed potatoes, or does the sweet potato mash sound better? What about fries? Mac salad or coleslaw? Gotta get cornbread, right? Well, I ended up settling on the pork braised collard greens because that's another classic with fried chicken. And honestly, of all the choices, it seemed like the lighter choice. Not that I was looking to save calories or anything, but half a fried chicken is pretty dense. And most importantly, of all the choices, that one seemed to have the most technique to assess. But we did have to share the obligatory appetizer. We narrowed it down to one dish, the nest egg, which consisted of, and I gotta take it to the notes, soft-boiled egg, Carolina Gold spring pea risotto, Tennessee prosciutto, shiitake mushrooms, crispy collards, and pecorino. This was a really solid dish. The risotto had a really intense flavor of peas, and I believe it also had some raw pea shoots on top, which have a very distinct flavor. Everything else came together to make this a luxurious couple of bites, with the ham and the mushrooms pairing great with the pecorino, and the soft-boiled egg providing some richness on top of everything. If there was a flaw in this plate, I would say it's the crispy collards. These brought that intense mineral flavor that you usually get with dark greens, but it felt really concentrated down because of the crispness of those collards. It wasn't a bad flavor at all, it just overpowered everything. I mentioned that I didn't order the chicken and waffles, but Cassie went ahead and ordered that. It's what she wanted. It wasn't for the purpose of showing you, but since we had it, might as well show it to you. That was interesting because it was also served with a bottle of bourbon maple syrup and honey hot sauce, but we'll get back to these in a minute because you know I had to partake, if you know what I mean. As far as quantities, the fried chicken dinner had an equivalent amount of chicken to the chicken and waffles dinner. The real difference comes down to those two fixins, and I told you about my thought process for why we picked that. Since the fried chicken dinner and the chicken and waffles dinner are the same price, I'd argue that the chicken and waffles dinner is a better deal because you get a larger volume of food, but also because it comes with that bourbon maple syrup and that honey hot sauce. So let's see how it tastes. First, we'll talk about the sides. Going in for a little bit of that mac and cheese, I figured this was gonna have the shortest enjoyable lifetime. And it was nice and rich. Small sprinkle of panko breadcrumbs on top, and you can tell there's some kind of spice or seasoning spiked into this. Collard greens were also really good. I like these because they were sitting in a good amount of the cooking liquor, which had lots of sweet and porky goodness. I was actually really pleased with myself for picking this over everything else that was there. And let me tell you, that was difficult because a lot of those are favorites. Come on, fries, mashed potatoes, sweet potato mash, all of that sounded amazing. I'm really glad they split it up into little cups on the side because I don't think I would have wanted to have these sides on the plate along with the fried chicken, especially the collard greens, because I feel like that liquid would soak into the chicken and make it a little soggy. But those little ramekins they use actually made the sides look comically small, and according to the menu, sides go from between $4 and $5 a piece. So I would hope that what's on the fried chicken dinner plate is like maybe an abbreviated version of the sides that you order for $4 or $5 a piece. And here it is, the main event, the fried chicken. By the way, hit the thumbs up if you're enjoying this so far. Their fried chicken plate is composed of 5 bone-in pieces. So you get 1 thigh, 1 wing, 1 drumstick, and the breast split into 2. There's no elegant way to do this without getting your hands and your camera dirty. So that's what I had to do. Each piece of this chicken was impressively good. It was absolutely perfect. Every piece was juicy and tender, which is the only way you want to see fried chicken come out to you. What was really special here was the coating. It looks like they have their chicken, which is brined, then they coat it in a seasoned flour, deep fry it, and then when it comes out of the deep fryer, they dust it with some kind of special seasoning, like a spice mix or something. And if I had to guess, I would say this spice mix is similar to what they would put on like a Nashville style chicken, like as far as the dry seasoning. But this seasoning was a little more subdued than that, not quite as spicy. And the reason I'm saying that is because there was definitely some detectable sweetness that was in that dry rub that was outside of the fried chicken. And that kind of sweetness and spiciness, and also deep, rich flavors and herbs and everything on there, it was just absolutely delightful. And the word I wrote down here is lovely. It was lovely. Now, as you bite through this coating, it breaks apart in the most satisfying way, where it like shatters and turns into these little crunchies as you bite it. I would say that coating is light and airy, kind of crispy like tempura in a way, just so good. It's the kind of thing that you just keep going in for, and before you know it, you've finished the entire thing. So much for cold fried chicken as a midnight snack. We totally had to go for the gush and order some dessert. That night we shared a plate of the vanilla sponge cake with blueberry compote and lime semifreddo. I really loved how independent each of those components were, but also how they came together between all the flavors and textures that were vastly different but worked pretty well together. Although Crave is no longer open as of right now, chances are the chicken sandwich on the menu at the Nest or at the Cuckoos Nest in Albany is similar to what I got at Crave. Click into this video right here to find out more.